So everything I'm editing this week is me rewriting basically. And that's how on Tuesday I wrote 5,428 words. Somehow I have written 12,615 words this week. Hello everyone and welcome back to another video. It is quite early right now. I say quite early, it always feels earlier in the winter. Actually only like 8 a.m. so it's not terribly early. It's not as early as we've gone before. I have started vlogs at like 2 a.m, 4 a.m, 8 a.m, totally reasonable time. This week we're going to be trying out a new writing routine because Lord knows that the one I've been doing up until this point hasn't been working. To be really candid with you, I have struggled with Project Spiegeltent on and off the entire time. Hello, if you're new here, my name is Christy. I'm a debut author. My novel, Theodora's Tea Shop, is out in less than a month. It's out on July 28th. It's so exciting and very cool. It's an atmospheric 1920s inspired adult fantasy novel. So that is out at the end of this month, but I'm currently on draft 4 for my next novel, Project Spiegeltent, which is about a young woman who goes and works at an arts festival that's ultimately hiding a lot of secrets, and that book is also speculative, and also it's been very difficult in many different ways, and mostly, if you're not up to date, I'm sorry for repeating the whole spiel, it's mostly because I keep getting interrupted. You want to go outside? 8 o'clock in the morning, it's too early for noisy puppies. And she wants to go back inside. Okay. As I was saying, I keep getting interrupted, and so it happened throughout drafts 1, 2, and 3 for Project Spiegeltent. I'm on draft 4, but the honest truth is that I've just been bogged down in a lot of work this past month, and it's been really hard to context switch and to go into Spiegeltent, and so I'm just struggling. So in order to try and fix this, in order to help, we're going to change up the writing routine this week, and just for this whole week, I'm going to see if this helps me. I'm going to sit here at the kitchen table, which is where the tripod is currently sitting, with my laptop. I'll log out my laptop from everything. Distraction free, not logged into my Google account, not logged into YouTube, not logged into Instagram, Reddit, nothing. At the kitchen table, first thing in the morning without doing anything else, I'm gonna sit down and start writing. Oh, I need to grab my laptop. And also some tea and some toast, and then we can start working. So kind of hilariously, I have run into many technical difficulties this morning. It's been a while since I've used this laptop. I literally haven't even used it since we've moved into this house. So I was trying to log into the Wi-Fi, but for some reason I don't know our Wi-Fi password. So I need to go and find that. In the interim, I've been hotspotting to my phone. The whole thing is going really slowly and I cannot log into OneDrive. And OneDrive is how I access my work from my phone, from my PC. Everything is just saved in the same spot. Thank you. This morning, I'm actually going to be heading into the city. We need to get our car serviced, but because we're going to be out for a few hours, Mabel needs to go for a walk and I need to get ready. And it's almost 9 a.m. and I'm out of time for writing this first bit. A nice breakfast, that's something. As soon as you sent me the Wi-Fi password, I've been able to log into everything. So maybe it was just my hotspot that was the problem. So to summarize my day, I took Mabel for a nice gloomy walk. We headed into the CBD to go get our car serviced. I worked at the library. I went to the car servicing place at the time I was meant to, and I waited for 47 minutes. I don't know why I was surprised. Every time we take our car to be serviced, it's always like an hour late. I should just rock up an hour late. But I wanted to get home because I wanted to get back to writing because I didn't want my concentration to be blown. I sat in a lobby eating free biscuits for much longer than I should have. But I'm here now. I'm all home. I just got some other work done. It's currently 4:22 p.m. So at the start of today, I was on page 142. I'm back to working on the end of chapter 6. The Word document was sitting at 66,163 words. We're currently currently at 67,113 words. So to let you in on what I'm currently doing at the moment, chapter 7, I think I mentioned in a previous vlog. Actually, I may have said this in a voice note on Patreon instead of a previous vlog. Chapter 7 is a kind of bridging chapter where I had this big thing happen in chapter 5. I needed the reaction to happen in chapter 6 and for my main character to sort of like grapple with the mystery of what's going on. Chapter 7 is a decision made, but what I had in chapter 7, I have basically taken apart and put in chapter 6. Rewrote the whole of chapter 6. If you're new here, hello. My editing process is really iterative. So everything I'm editing this week is me rewriting basically. So chapter 7, what we had has been completely thrown in the bin because everything good about chapter 7 has been put into chapter 6. And so now I have this spare chapter here and I know I have things I need to do and things I need to put in. But I'm just trying to work out the best way to do that roughly in 4,500 to 5,000 words. I think I'm going to get a bit of work done. I'm going to get through my emails. I'm going to clear some admin stuff, do some planning stuff for the rest of my work for the week. And then I'm going to fiddle around with the plot beats of this story, which actually brings us to the sponsor of this video, Milanote. Milanote is a visual planning tool perfect for creatives and writers. If you've been watching my channel for a while, you definitely have heard of Milanote. I love Milanote. I've been using it for years. I find it incredibly helpful planning out and visualizing the plots of my novel, and also just for keeping resources, making mood boards, all of that good stuff. So I'm going to show you some of my key Milanote boards today, and we're going to replot and replan chapter 8. So here is my main hub board for Project Spiegeltent. One of my favorite things about Milanote is that you can have boards within boards, so it makes it very easy for me to segment all of the information I need. With Milanote, I can customize everything perfectly for my brain. So jumping in to my draft 4 board, we have more boards within boards. Here I've been using my edit letter board. This is all of the feedback I had from my literary agent on the previous draft. I showed you guys how I made this the last time I spoke about Milanote. I also have my mood board. I love using Milanote for mood boards because I can just drag and drop everything. So the main work I've been doing with Milanote tonight is on the Act 2 board. I'm working on chapter 8, so I'm color picking everything to make it all cohesive and for it to work for me visually. The lighter colored green here has the different sections of the chapter, and then the darker green relates to what the character's doing. I also have these other notes to the right hand side that I've made, which just gives little details on what I want the chapter to achieve. So chapter 8 is all done. I actually finished it right before I started filming this clip, and I feel like I got down some good ideas, a bit of a swivel in what I want to do. But anyway, Milanote is an excellent tool. I love it. I definitely recommend it. Milanote is available for free with no time limit, so go ahead and click the link in the description down below and check out Milanote. Alright, we are all done with planning. It took me about an hour and a half to sort of relay out chapter 8. Before I get to chapter 9, I'm going to do this same exercise again and make sure I'm just plotting things out and I know exactly where I want to go. I'm anticipating tomorrow being a big... I'm still working on chapter 7. I'm not going to get to chapter 8 until later in the week, ideally. If I get to chapter 8 this week, I really hope I do. But it's nice for me to know where I'm going with chapter 8 while I'm still working on chapter 7, because it kind of means that I can double check that all my foreshadowing's there, everything I know that I want to be there is going to be there. And yeah, I'm gonna try and get up a bit earlier tomorrow and see how that goes. I don't generally love getting up heaps early, but I have a big work day tomorrow, and so if I want to get some writing done before I do my other work, it might be good for me to try getting up early. We're gonna aim for about 6. It's currently Wednesday night and I am here with some gingerbread. It generally gets to the point each July where I feel the need to make a batch of gingerbread, and I feel like because it's not Christmas, I can't make proper gingerbread people. I lasted until the first day of July before I made gingerbread. It would probably seem even more out of season to you guys who are in summer. I've seen a bunch of places having heat waves at the moment. However, it is the middle of winter for us and it is freezing. Last night we had this huge thunderstorm. It woke me up at like 3 a.m. and I did not get back to sleep properly for like the whole night. So I didn't have the best writing day today, but I did have an excellent writing day on Tuesday. I think I mentioned to you that I was gonna have to get up early because I had a really big work day ahead, and essentially I sat down 6 a.m. whatever time it was. I got to my laptop in the dining room and I just felt like I was gonna concentrate really well. And some days when I know I'm gonna hit flow state really quickly and I'm gonna be really efficient and my brain is gonna lock on and the words are gonna come easily, I will just rearrange my week to make sure that that's the day that I can get words done. Because with the way my brain works, sometimes it takes me a really long time to spin up on tasks. I'm self-employed, which means that I have the massive privilege of being able to sometimes just work for my brain, to work for the most efficient way that my brain is going to work. And some days are going to be good writing days, and those are the writing days that I want to actively make time for writing. And that's how on Tuesday I wrote 5,428 words, which is amazing. I normally, if I spend a good 4 or 5 hours writing, I can get between 2,000 and 3,000 words. That's a good day for me normally. An excellent day is 5,000. And then today, Wednesday, I wrote 204 words, so it was a lot fewer. Essentially, I just spent a lot of time going back and forth through chapter 7. Chapter 7 is basically done. That was basically just the whole of chapter 7. Some of the dialogue I probably need to condense just a little bit. I ideally want chapter 7 to be about 4,700 words, so I think there's maybe 300, 400, 500 words I could cut in that chapter, but that's good because it means I can just like squish it down a little bit and consolidate it a little bit. Because chapter 8, which we replotted together on Monday night, that's going to be this really big bold chapter where the whole chapter's being rewritten for chapter 8. I'll probably just rewrite the end of the book, really. I didn't have to rewrite the start of the book this time for draft 4, so the first 4 chapters, like really, like they kind of stayed as they were with edits, whereas the back half of the book is going to have to be rewritten, I think. And when I went to Brisbane the other week to do the event for QBD books, I'm still pinching myself that happened, by the way. If you're out of the loop, hello. My publisher, Hachette, who are publishing my debut novel, they sent me and another author up to Queensland to go to this event for QBD, and I got to give a little keynote speech, and I got to be on stage, and I got to do a panel with Garth Nix and a bunch of other people, and it was very cool. And this topic of our writing process came up. I'm actually quite similar to, like, I draft the first draft quite quickly, but then I kind of throw out my whole draft and then start again from scratch, and then I rewrite from memory. And so it's kind of that process of, for the first year or two of writing a novel, I'll just write from memory, and then that's the way I kind of solidify the world, because all of the cool stuff will stay and all the superfluous stuff I'll just forget about through the process.
That terrifies me.
Yeah, me too.
It's fun. It's like if I get to the end of a draft, I'm like, oh, this is a bit of shit. I can kind of just like throw it in the bin and start again, and then it's like not as overwhelming. I'm like, oh, the blank page is really neat. And
I refuse to throw out words. I love
that for you. I wish I did.
And I also had some questions recently on Patreon, because very soon I'm going to be doing a Patreon Q&A, like a mega Q&A where I just try to answer everyone's questions. So if you want to check out Patreon, there's a link in the description down below. We're doing a big Q&A soon. Someone over there also asked a question about my very iterative writing style. Basically, I don't do it on purpose. If I'm in a story and I can see that my chapter is 7,000 words, 3,000 words, whatever it is, and I think, okay, the general building blocks of this are good, but I know I want to add this and this in, I kind of find that the best way for me to precisely write my prose, to consolidate my prose, to write the most engaging version of the chapter that I can, it's easier for me to just throw out the words and start again. And for some people that sounds horrifying, but the thing is that I can remember the chapter pretty clearly, and also the most important things are going to stay in my mind, so I kind of feel like it's a sieve to get out all the bad stuff and all the superfluous stuff, because I think that a good story, a compelling story, is easy to remember and it's easy to explain. And so I kind of feel like if I'm writing from memory, I'm just getting rid of all the stuff that isn't needed, and I can put in things in a way that just feels easier and less overwhelming. So I can take a character's dialogue, and instead of just being bogged down by what I already had, what is more horrifying to me is having a bunch of words in front of me that kind of feel like a mess, and me having to sort of painstakingly move stuff around. I find rewriting just a lot easier, and I don't really feel like I lose anything important. It's kind of rare that I'll go back to a previous draft and go, oh, that was a metaphor I needed to keep, because if there was a good metaphor that I really liked, I'll remember it and I'll put it straight back in again. But anyway, I had a really good day on Tuesday, and then I had a really small day today. Tomorrow I have a Pilates class booked. I got a sale in the end of financial year sales for some Pilates classes. I really need to get back into it because my back and my neck have been hurting so much, and Pilates has been the best thing for my neck pain and my back pain and all that stuff. Just like, it's been really good for me. So getting back into it is one of my goals for the back half of this year, and I'm gonna head to a cafe and get some writing done and try and make a dent on chapter 8. So on Thursday I finished chapter 7, I started chapter 8, I was working away at a cafe. We know this by now, that working at libraries and cafes are excellent for helping me concentrate on story writing. I really love writing out in public. I really don't know what it is, whether it's the body doubling thing or the novelty of it, but working outside has helped me so much, especially on this particular story. For some reason, Spiegeltent has just been an impossible novel to write at my PC, but essentially that kind of working outside or working in a more novel space is what I've been trying to recreate with my laptop sitting at the kitchen table. So in addition to working at a cafe on Thursday, I also worked at the kitchen table. I did it again this morning. I've now moved into this room, and today I can happily tell you I have written 2,327 words. Chapter 8 is basically done. Chapter 8 was this really big, as I said, creative, messy, not messy, but like the way the speculative world works in this novel is very different to my previous novel, Theodora's Tea Shop, where that book is a completely secondary world fantasy, but is set in the real world, and we dip into and out of the secondary world speculative situation, and there are a lot more mystery layers in this story. And so for me, I'm kind of living for the more speculative chapters of this story, and chapter 8 being my favorite number so obviously it had to be an important chapter, was this really big, bold chapter where my literary agent wanted me to change the tone of it, because I have this kind of sister chapter or like mirror chapter, reflection chapter, whatever, of something similar happening earlier on the story. But for that chapter, it was a lot more ominous and creepy. Like, I wouldn't say it's horror, it's not scary, but the vibe is a lot more kind of dark leaning rather than it being whimsical. But with chapter 8, what I had in drafts 1 through 3, chapter 8 was a lot more whimsical and funny, but in a very light-hearted sort of way. And the feedback I got from my 2 beta readers, so that's my partner Tyler and my literary agent Bailey, they both wanted me to return to the ominous vibe, and I do tend to agree with them. So I've taken this one character who appears in chapter 8 and I basically redesigned their character. They could sort of just pop in. Our main character Claire has needed to find this person to learn things about the world, to learn things about the mystery, but now this character they meet in chapter 8 is a lot more ominous and grounded and less whimsical, and I think it works for the story. But I'm definitely diving into the most creative parts of my brain to make this bold, vibrant, weird world where lots of like weird art illusions are coming in. And this character, she has always wanted to be an artist, but she's never really known what area to pursue. Like, she has dabbled in so many things. Like, she's picked up painting and crochet and life drawing and music and all these things. She wants to be an artist, but she is really bad at sticking to things. And so she ends up working at a performing arts festival, and this festival has everything from cabaret to magicians to writers to poets to theatre, everything you can imagine, every kind of art you can imagine. Hello, Mamu! It's been a lot of fun researching this story, and it's been really interesting. It's been a really interesting challenge. It's also just grounded in so many nitty-gritty real-world things, and as I think I've said in previous videos, I miss just writing pure speculative fantasy, just like picking a time period I really love, completely inventing a world. Like with Theodora's Tea Shop, you know, that world has demons and spirits and magic, and I got to really design an entire world, which I adored. And so for the next novel, I'm really excited to get back to that. I think I really want to do something that is entirely a secondary world story. Somehow I have written 12,615 words this week. The past few weeks, the words I've written have been really low. I had a lot more time for writing this week than I generally have. Normally I have about 1 day a week that I can dedicate most of the day to writing, and even then I'll still do my other work later in the day or later in the night. So I don't normally have any full-time days for writing. I've mentioned this so many times that I write around my full-time work. I'm really excited to get through the end of this draft and to send it back to my literary agent. We are hoping to go on submission to publishers at some point relatively soon. I don't know if I'm going to vlog that or even tell you guys when that's going to happen, because as you would know if you've watched my submission vlog, and that vlog just turned a year old. I uploaded it a year ago, like last week or something. That was a very emotionally fraught process. So I don't know if I'm going to vlog it this time round. I don't know if I'm going to tell anyone I'm going on submission, but we are hoping to go on submission with Project Spiegeltent at some point soon. But anyway, thank you guys very, very much for watching this vlog. I hope you enjoyed it. Before I go, I just wanted to say a massive thank you to everyone over on Patreon for supporting my videos, because simply put, these videos wouldn't exist without the people over on Patreon. Over there, we have a bunch of bonus content. As I said, I'm soon going to do a Patreon exclusive Q&A. We have voice notes, we've got updates, we've got so many things over on Patreon. So if you want to check it out, there's a link in the description down below. Take care, everyone, and I will see you next time. Bye bye.